Watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Welcome back to the Final Ghouls of Horror. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Holly.
And I'm Elle.
We're three people who love horror and are coming at it from different perspectives of who we are, as well as very different levels of experience with the genre, which we're always excited to talk about. And this week we're headed to Woodsboro and prepping our defibrillators as we take a look at Scream 4.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Here is my Woodsboro Massacre anniversary question. What is your favorite scary movie?
What's your favorite scary movie?
One generation's tragedy is the next one's a joke.
What is your favorite scary movie, man?
I'll show you.
This week marks the anniversary of the infamous Woodsboro murders. Local celebrity victim Sydney Prescott chose to return to her hometown.
Welcome home, Sydney. Watch the preview of coming events.
What do you want?
Who is this?
He's trying to do Ghostface.
I'm standing in the closet.
So let's start this off with what's probably going to be a moderately heavy discussion, or hefty discussion, I should say. Before we get into Scream 4 itself, we're all, it's fair to say, pretty hefty fans of this franchise. And we've talked about Scream and Scream 2 individually on your other podcast. Which I realized when we were getting ready to do this one, we should mention it in the where to find you at the end of episodes. But yeah, we've both talked about Scream on, I think, did I do? No, because obviously Holly talked about Scream on Check This Out with you. And then I talked about Scream 2. And I think we all kind of talked about Scream 3 in those episodes a little bit. Yeah. That is an appropriate reaction. I think it's fine. Anyways.
No, we're not doing Scream 3.
Yep. But let's just do a quick overview. And let's start with you, actually. How do you feel about this franchise as a whole in terms of the first few films? Like, what do you think of the ups and downs of them? How familiar are you? That sort of thing.
So going into recording those episodes of Check This Out, available wherever good podcasts are kept, I had only seen Scream 3, and it was at a birthday party sleepover thing, so it wasn't really the most focus of attention.
Right.
But it did leave enough of a mark that it's like there's some scenes that are burnt into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But then the rest of it is just like, oh shit, there were people in this, like actors, rather than nobodies.
Right.
So and then going into those episodes, talking about Scream and then Scream 2, because the format of the show requires a review segment of the previous discussion. I did end up having to watch those for that. And then it's like, well, I mean, we didn't really talk about it. I could just watch Scream 3 again.
Right.
to just round it out. And I thought, well, that sorted me for a bit. I don't need to do any more because I can come back to it later. And
Yeah.
here we are.
And here we are. Yep.
I mean, it certainly sets itself up as being weirdly representative of horror in a way, because it's building on all the ideas of tropes and uh, self-referential writing and whatnot, to the point that it did sort of re-kickstart the horror genre a bit, because I think it had
Very
kind of fell by the wayside a bit at that point in time.
Very much so. Yeah, horror was not in. There are gems in there, but horror was not necessarily in the best place in like the mid '90s.
And the other side of that is it did also bring about Scary Movie, which that
It
by
sure
itself isn't too bad.
No.
But the fact that that then led to other X movies of the style and kept getting more of its own identity,
Yep,
is certainly a thing that can be said about Scream as a franchise.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, of all the facts about Scream, that is certainly one of them.
Yes, very much so. Holly, how about you? What is? I actually don't know this one. When did you first get into Scream?
So, and I talked about this on Check It Out. I knew of its existence, but I wasn't really old enough to watch it when it first came out. I mean, by my mother's standards, I may have been, but I didn't. I ended up watching it one night in college in my dorm room when I couldn't sleep and it was storming outside, and they had a Scream marathon on TV back before streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up staying up all night, just kind of skipped classes the next day. And I watched because only the first 3 were out at that point. Right. And I watched all 3 of them in one night.
Mm-hmm.
Right and on. Then I loved it after that.
Mm-hmm. So for my part, I don't think I saw the first one in theaters. The first one I saw, no, I definitely did not see it in theaters. I saw it when I went up to with my girlfriend at the time. It was like weirdly, I think it was the same thing. Although this is like right when it came out on video. I think we saw it in her dorm room. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Sorry, as Jeremy goes through a fugue state suddenly, trying to figure that out. And absolutely adored it. I thought it was incredibly smart, incredibly. We'd hit a point at that point, obviously, where slashers were kind of played out a little bit. And slashers do this from time to time. They come into vogue, they overplay their hand, they go back out of vogue, repeat ad nauseum as cinematic history goes on. But I really, really liked it. And then it wasn't long after that. I think it was less than a year, or just maybe just a year. Scream 2 came out, and saw that. Thought it was, at the time I was like, okay, this is just as good as the first one. Over time, I actually like the second one slightly better because of reasons. The first one is is pretty close to perfect, and the second one gets even closer for me. And then Scream 3 came out. It's a movie. I actually don't hate Scream 3. I think Scream 3 is a fine movie. That has the unfortunate situation of being extremely meddled with. And it's actually very prescient in terms of some Me Too stuff, that kind of stuff, which is fascinating considering what studio was behind it. But we'll get into that in the production notes. But yeah, so I was a huge fan, even with the third one, which I was like, okay, it wasn't quite as good. It's still okay. All the way up to 4, and I was always hopeful that a fourth movie was going to happen, and then it happened. And we'll get into what I think about that. But talking about Scream 4, Elle, I know this is a first time watch for you. Did you come into this fairly blind? Did you know stuff from the movie already?
I mean, not from the movie directly, but I kind of had a couple of things spoiled retroactively.
Okay.
By certain people who may or may not be in this podcast, talking about how good a Scream 6 it may or may not have been.
I'm trying to think of
Which one of us was it? Or was it both of us?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about the best diplomatic way to do that. But it's like, wow, I can't believe like they got this character right in the beginning, and wow, this character came back. Wow. So it's like, okay, well, clearly they're not going to die here, because unless time travel gets involved, because that would be weird.
That's kind of the thing, though. The character that comes back, as of the end of this film, functionally is dead.
Yeah.
We don't know one way or the other.
But knowing that, it's like, oh, well,
yeah,
okay. It cuts off a little bit of tension.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Unless, Friday the 13th rules.
I mean, listen, I'm just... This isn't a spoiler because we certainly don't know how it's going to happen, although I have assumptions. The upcoming 7th film has a ton of dead characters coming back.
I don't believe one of them is dead.
I'm questionable on that as well. But Roman Bridger is coming back in the 7th movie.
Yeah, he's dead.
Like, dude is really super dead.
Also, out of all the killers, really, you're going to bring him back?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I have feelings, but there are better ones they could have brought back.
Yeah, no.
Is cadaverific.
Roman is... It was a good idea. Execution is maybe a little shaky. But yeah, so my point being, the franchise gets there eventually. I have theories on how they pull that off. Personally, I'm assuming it's a whole lot of deep faking and AI, but we'll within the storyline, but we'll see. But yeah, no, that's fair. We definitely mentioned that a certain character comes back at one point. I don't even know if that was in our podcast channel of the Slack.
The podcast channel hadn't existed yet. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this is well before the podcast even existed. Okay, fair enough.
And that's why I'm like, I could watch these, but I'm not really, like, there's no strong impetus to. I've got so much other stuff to watch.
Yep, that's fair. Well,
and then here we are, where I have an actual excuse.
Yep, no, 100%.
Which is good, because I need to watch more shit.
Yeah. So, Ollie, when did you see Scream 4?
I'm trying to remember. It was not in theaters.
Okay.
It was probably, though, I want to say, it came out in 2011. I saw it before I married Austin, which was 2013. So,
like right when it came out on home video.
I probably, yeah. So I think the thing is, so that my parents are horror movie people, but they have such a thing against slasher movies. So I know that I wouldn't watch it with my parents' knowledge because they would have given me a hard time that I was into it. So I feel like I think I rented it, but like they weren't home or something.
Makes sense.
But it was probably like a year after it came out.
Mm-hmm. So this was... I don't remember. Actually, no, this was the second one that I did see in theaters, because I still didn't see Scream 2 in theaters. I don't think. Memory is a thing. But I did see Scream 3 in theaters, and I was really, really looking forward to this one when it was announced and in the lead up, and I 100% saw it in theaters because I can remember specifically the end, the credit sequence when they show you the faces, and they show you the clip with the actor's name. I remember specifically seeing that stuff. And at the time it came out, I really, really liked it. I did not understand what people's complaints were about the movie, because it was reaction to it was not bad, but was a little bit measured than the first two, we'll say. But yeah, and then as time has gone on, I've seen it multiple times. I really, there's so much that I enjoy about this movie. Interestingly, we'll get into it, but this viewing, it might have been my mood or something, but I found a little bit of stuff that kind of annoyed me more than is typical. But it's still good regardless.
I found that the last time I watched it, but not this time.
Fair enough. Nothing like super terrible, but yeah, I'll talk about it when we get into it. But first off, let's talk about Scream's production history a little bit. So Scream 4 is directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson, who was back for this one after Scream 3 was written by Aaron Kruger. It stars Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Emma Roberts, Hayden Panettiere, Adam Brody, Rory Culkin, Marley Shelton, Alison Brie, Mary McDonnell, and Nico Tortorella. Normally our cast lists are smaller, but that's sort of the thing about this franchise. Kind of like the Knives Out franchise, is they love getting lots and lots of people in it. So Scream 4 began much as you would probably expect, with Scream 3. Scream 3 hit in 2000, and it was a large success. It wasn't quite as big as the first two, and it was definitely more disliked than those two. But it was still a huge, huge, huge hit. So the Weinsteins, because unfortunately, when you talk about the Scream franchise, you have to talk about the Weinsteins. They wanted a new film. However, as you may have noticed, there is an 11-year gap between 3 and 4. And that can be attributed to two things. First off, Craven and Williamson simply didn't have a story. Scream 3 was supposed to conclude the trilogy as it did. If you can hold your nose and imagine that Sidney ends up with the creepiest detective in the franchise.
No.
Oh, Patrick Dempsey, bless you, you tried. But if you can get past that, it does definitively end the storyline there. There's no cliffhangers. There's no post moment, scream jump scare moment to end the film or anything like that. But more importantly was the fact that the market for slashers kind of died at that point after Scream 3. Not Scream 3 didn't kill it, but we had run through very, very rapidly the postmodern meta slasher craze. Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legends, all of those kinds of movies very quickly ran through. And the 2000s, a little thing happened in September of the first year of that decade that caused a little bit of a shift in cultural attitudes.
Yeah, we should probably remember that.
Yeah. But horror, as often is the case, follows that shift in cultural attitudes. And so the early mid 2000s got us a J horror. We got quote unquote torture porn. We got a zombie resurgence with 28 Days Later and the Dawn of the Dead remake. And we got a metric crap ton of remakes. The Platinum Dunes remake with Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hitcher and all of those movies happened in this era, essentially crowding slashers out. Finally, in 2008, Weinstein Company announced that Scream 4 was in the works. But then there wasn't a whole lot of movement until about 2 years later when Kevin Williamson announced officially that he was back, and then Wes Craven signed on. So Craven and Williamson pitched the new film as the start of a new trilogy. The plan was to return to Woodsboro and comment on new horror tropes as well as the nature of online celebrity, as we can see in this film. Obviously, the trilogy aspect of it didn't happen, and really we can thank the Weinsteins for that. Harvey and Bob Weinstein are famous for meddling in their films, along with another thing, especially their horror films. Bob Weinstein did that here several times. He ordered several changes in the script, including changing the opening scene from one in which Sidney was attacked by Ghostface and left for dead for 2 years before the events of the film eventually pick up. He also, very crucially, dramatically changed the ending. So the original ending for Scream 2 closes out at the house as Jill is being loaded into the ambulance. And she is talking with Dewey. She is essentially having the conversation that she has in the hospital with him. And then we hear a paramedic call out that they have a woman alive. Doesn't identify who. Could have been Sydney, could have been Kirby, and that would have been the cliffhanger that would have led us into Scream 5. And then the question would be, obviously Sydney would have come back at that point. This is not confirmed. I don't believe that Kevin Williamson or anyone has ever confirmed that this was the case, but the reports are that the attack, Sydney would not have remembered anything that happens in the big reveal scene. And then Scream 5 would have been, all right, well, Jill's there. Jill is, we know who the killer at this point is, but Sydney does not. Again, obviously, that didn't happen. Bob Weinstein decided to completely add all of the hospitals and essentially close out this story. Williamson wasn't happy with that, nor was he happy with the fact that the Weinsteins brought in Aaron Kruger, who again wrote Scream 3, to do rewrites on 4 during production. Because, nothing shows confidence in your film quite like, hey, let's rewrite this movie while we're filming it. Ultimately, Scream 4 opened on April 15th, 2011, and didn't do great financially. It's certainly not compared to the first 3. Like, it earned slightly positive reviews, and most people agreed it was an improvement over Scream 3, but there was still a lot of criticism. Critics called it dated. They called the whole Scream format cliched at that point. It ended up financially grossing $97.2 million worldwide against a $40 million budget, which sounds like a hit, but really isn't. Because essentially the math here works out that you have to roughly hit about double your box office to cover the production budget. It's actually closer to 3 these days. But you don't start making profit until you hit that. So while Scream 4 was probably slightly in the black, it was not a hit. By comparison, Scream 3 did $161.8 million against a $40 million budget. So the sequels were canceled after that. And the franchise basically stayed dormant until the MTV series came along. Which I don't know if either of you have seen this TV series.
I've seen some of it.
I remember that MTV was a channel.
Yeah, fair.
Look, we didn't get a lot of the same channels, to be fair, but we did get that one.
The first season is not great. It was 100% a hate watch for me. It tries, but it has one of the worst protagonists in horror television history. It's real bad. Second season was a little bit better, and then the third season actually had a connection to the films vaguely, which the first 2 seasons did not. And I'm not a big fan of the third season either. But we have to be appreciative of the TV series for one reason. It reignited interest in the franchise. And arguably, we would not have gotten Scream 5 or 6 without it. So, fair enough. In the last, I would say 5 or 6 years, though, Scream 4 has been reappraised. And it is regarded much better now, the same way Scream 3 was. Scream 3 has been given a little bit of a reappraisal. And I still have issues with 3, but I don't think it's awful. And I'm really happy to see Scream 4 get the appreciation that it didn't really have at the time. Couple fun facts. The original script has a lot of changes in it. One of them is that Gail and Dewey have a baby. That was cut out by Bob Weinstein because I think the exact phrasing he is reported to use as, it'll be impossible to shoot a slasher film with a baby. I disagree, but, you do you, Bob. During the initial table read of the script, the actors were not given any of the pages past page 75 in order to protect the killer's identity. The script was 140 pages, so they read roughly half the script. This was, sadly, Wes Craven's not just his last Scream film, but his last film, period. He did not direct another movie after this before he passed away in 2015. And finally, for a slightly more upbeat way to end the fun facts, as silly as Deputy Perkins' death via head stabbing looks, where he's walking along and swinging and then falls to his knees, says "fuck Bruce Willis" and dies, it's medically accurate. That death was specifically inspired by a true story where a man was stabbed in the center of his head and walked himself to the hospital. And Wes Craven was like, you can do that? That would be interesting to put on film. And so did. Obviously, he does not walk himself to the hospital, but before we get into the plot synopsis really quick, a quick content warning. Not much. I mean, it's a Scream film, so it's got lots of stabbing and lots of gore, but it's a horror film, so that's not going to be surprising. The only thing that I could really think of, and maybe there are things that I'm missing, there is one scene of very hefty self-inflicted harm, but not in the way that we usually content warning self-inflicted harm. This is, I need to look fucked up. Other than that, I really couldn't think of much. You could argue gaslighting, but not in this way that, again, not in the way that you think of where somebody's trying to do it to make somebody think they're crazy. That's what happens in Scream 3, not Scream 4. Yeah, other than as long as you don't mind seeing some pretty strong slasher scenes, pretty chill movie to watch. Which, let's get into the movie itself. Holly, tell us what happens in this movie.
People get stabbed.
A lot.
Yep. The end.
Yep. Yeah.
And on that note, I've been ill.
On the 15th anniversary week of the original Woodsboro murders, high school students Marnie Cooper and Jenny Randall are murdered by Ghostface. Sidney Prescott returns to Woodsboro the following day to promote her self-help book with her publicist, Rebecca Walters. After evidence is found in her rental car, Sidney becomes a prime suspect in the murders and must stay in town until they are solved. Sidney's teenage cousin, Jill Roberts, who is coping with the infidelity of her ex-boyfriend, Trevor Sheldon, gets a threatening phone call from Ghostface, as does her friend, Olivia Morris. Jill and Olivia, alongside their friend and best character, Kirby Reed, are questioned about their calls by Dewey Riley. now the county sheriff, while his deputies, Judy Hicks, Anthony Perkins, and Ross Haas, assist him in the case. Gail Weathers, Dewey's wife, is struggling with writer's block and decides to investigate the murders against her husband's wishes. That night, as Sydney stays over with Jill and her Aunt Kate, Olivia is brutally murdered by Ghostface as Jill and Kirby watch in horror from across the street. Sydney herself is then confronted by Ghostface, and they fight until Ghostface is forced to flee when Perkins and Haas arrive. At the hospital, Sydney fires Rebecca after learning of her desire to exploit the murders to increase book sales. Rebecca is then murdered by Ghostface at a parking garage. Gail enlists the help of two high school cinema enthusiasts, Charlie Walker and Robbie Mercer. Charlie theorizes that the killer is following the rules of horror remakes, and Gail and Sydney conclude that the killer will likely strike again at the Stabathon, a screening party held in a barn where teenagers gather to binge watch all 7 installments of the Stab franchise because they are idiots. Gail sneaks into the party to investigate, but Ghostface attacks her, stabbing her in the shoulder. Haas and Perkins, who were assigned to guard Jill's house, are also murdered. Sydney discovers, through another taunting call from Ghostface, that Jill has left for Kirby's before Ghostface attacks her and Kate, killing her aunt. Jill, Kirby, Charlie, Robbie, and Trevor arrive for an after-party at Kirby's house when Ghostface strikes, killing a drunken Robbie. Sydney arrives to leave with Jill, but they are both chased by Ghostface. As Sydney calls Dewey and tries to find Jill, Kirby frees Charlie, who was bound and gagged, but he immediately stabs her, revealing himself as Ghostface, before leaving her to bleed out. Sydney is confronted by Charlie and a second Ghostface, who reveals herself as Jill. She admits to be the mastermind behind the murders, and was doing so out of the jealousy of the fame that Sydney had received for surviving the previous killing sprees, and desires to achieve the same fame as a victim of the murders, intending to frame Trevor as Ghostface. Jill kills Trevor and betrays Charlie, stabbing him to death, to pin him as Trevor's accomplice, so she can be the sole survivor. She then stabs Sydney and injures herself to frame Trevor further. Dewey and the police arrive. Sydney and Jill are taken to the hospital. After discovering that Sydney has survived, an enraged Jill goes to her hospital room and makes a final attempt to kill her. At the same time, Dewey and Gail deduce that Jill was one of the killers due to a comment she made about Gail's attack that was not public knowledge. Dewey, Gail, and Judy rush to aid Sydney, but Jill subdues them. During the commotion, Sydney is able to electrocute Jill with a defibrillator and shoot her in the heart, finally killing her. As Dewey calls for backup, reporters outside name Jill as a hero right out of the movies. Roll credits.
Yep. All right, so let's start with the obvious place to start. The beginning. Look, one of the hallmarks of the Scream franchise is the opening scene. Like, that is a thing that every film, and not a spoiler, every film every film that follows is gonna have, and it's part of the Scream experience. Scream 4 very obviously knows this and decides to have some fun with it. Elle, how does the opening scene work for you in comparison to the first 3 films, which have, variations on it, but a fairly traditional, they're basically doing the same thing?
I mean, when it got into the second one, it started to worry me a little bit. My history with the scary movie type franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Oh no. But it did manage to come back around, like as
Yeah.
like I think it was the triple bluff.
Mm-hmm.
It was the 3 levels. Yeah, rule of threes for comedy. Pretty
Yes.
pretty easy cheat sheet on that one. Anyone studying comedy, rule of three.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
and yeah, I think it wouldn't have worked if they stuck at just the second layer, and it also wouldn't have worked if they'd gone another layer deep up to the fourth. But third, it worked for me.
So, did you do the okay, this is the real one for each of them, or did it start like for the third where you're like, oh god, is they're just gonna keep redoing this?
There was a little bit of that, but because of how meta they were talking, that's like okay, no, this is the real one, and I can see why they've done it. Okay, yep, no, this works.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, it does present that interesting perspective as being, as I said before, Scream as a franchise is the like the arbiter of the rules of horror and like
Mm-hmm.
the self-referential meta commentary. So
Yep.
having that as explicit as it was does help it in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Holly, how did this one? How did the opening scenes? I guess I should say multiple scenes, but the opening sequence. How did it hit you when you first saw it, and having seen it more than once since? Does it? Is it one that you can sit back and enjoy more with successive watches?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite opening.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it's different. Also, and like this is gonna be bad, but or sound, I mean, not awful. I think it's true. So when I'm first watching it, I was like, oh, okay, movie within a movie. That's really funny. And then, oh, movie within a movie within a movie. I was able to tell when it got to like the actual movie because they weren't actresses that I recognized
Yeah, no, that is
at that point.
Yep,
I'm
100%.
like, oh, so they got these women because they're like well known right now.
Yep. To be fair, I do believe that Britt Robertson, she was, I think, known. Marnie. I think she was known for stuff. I couldn't tell you what.
Same. I do. Yeah, I think she's known for stuff. I'm not sure. I was focused on Oh, I can't remember the actress's name. Arya from Pretty Little Liars.
Uh, uh, uh,
I know her as Arya.
yes. From one of the earlier ones. I don't.
Lucy Hale,
Yes,
right?
Lucy Hale. Yes, you are
Okay,
correct.
yeah, just came to me. Okay.
And Amy Teagarden, again, Jenny was also. They were. I believe Britt Robertson and Amy Teagarden were both TV stars at this point. I couldn't tell you what because it was a younger audience and I wasn't watching. I don't know, Disney Channel, whatever they were on. I still need to watch Pretty Little Liars for that point because I've
Have you
never
not?
gotten it. Nope.
I am shocked.
Here's the thing.
I would think that is your kind of show.
It is, but here's the thing. Pretty Little Liars, what network was it on?
It has changed its name so many times. It used to be ABC Family once upon a time. I think then it was Freeform.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
So, how's a good way to put this? That network It's like CW shows from a certain era, right? There is there is a reputation that shows from those networks have. And I would say not bad, like I didn't look at those shows and say, "Oh, those are going to be terrible." But it was not my demo. Would be the best way to put it. There are a whole bunch of shows like that. Pretty Little Liars. Shockingly, I have never seen a single episode, and it is on my list to eventually see, of Gossip Girl.
I have recently gotten into that one.
Yeah,
it will suck you in.
I'm sure it will. But these shows are ones that just I was a little bit too old for, and I was also not focused on television at that point.
You need to stream Pretty Little Liars because you don't have enough to watch.
Right.
But you need to, and I want to know your opinions on all the reveals.
Absolutely fair. Hey, listen, I just literally, because of a conversation that was had not long ago, decided yesterday, once I was done with Welcome to Derry, I decided, you know what? I should pick back up American Horror Story Apocalypse, and I watched 2 episodes last night. Because, again, I don't have enough to watch.
Oh, I like Apocalypse.
I like it a lot. I am up to episode 3 at this point, which is, that's a choice in a good way, but bold. Anyways,
it's been a while. I can't remember the specific episodes.
That's the episode where Coven makes its appearance.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
But anyway, Scream 4.
And by the way, to follow up on Britt Robertson, she was in a couple of popular CW shows at the time that this was going on.
Fair.
See, did I avoid the inadvertent spoilers because I don't know any actors or actresses or anything?
You not know Katie Bell?
No. Do I?
Kristen Bell.
Kristen, gosh, what's wrong with me today? Kristen, not Katie. I never said Katie. Kristen, sorry.
I don't know.
Kristen Bell. And
Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I?
She was in Trick or Treat.
Yes, Anna Paquin was in Trick or Treat.
She was the Little Red Riding Hood girl.
She was also in the first 3 X-Men films. So she was in X-Men Last Stand, which I know you've seen.
Yeah. When I absolutely knew what was happening.
Yeah, that is 100% fair. She was in True Blood, I think is the one that everybody else goes to.
Don't know it.
Kristen Bell was in Veronica Mars.
Don't know it. I know The Planet and The Sailor Scout.
It is it's not horror, but it's kind of noir thrill. I almost want to make us watch it just because, but it's also a whole ass TV series.
It's a mystery. Well, if you have an episode from it, it's a mystery show though. I used to watch it with my dad.
It's so fucking good. It's like, for reference, Veronica Mars is like, shit, now I have to figure out something that you're going to recognize. You will recognize the frame of reference for this, even if you... I don't think you've seen the show. It is like Buffy, but if you took the general Buffy vibe and set it in a noir mystery that is not afraid to go really fucking dark. Like, there's plot stuff that happens in Veronica Mars that you would not expect to take place in a teen drama. It's great.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard the description of Riverdale.
Oh my gosh.
So things that you wouldn't expect to happen in a teen drama. It does cover a wild scope.
Don't let me go on this tangent. We'll never get off it.
In a teen drama in 2003, I want to say? 2003, 2004, something like that. Riverdale is... So anyways, this movie...
Riverdale is crack that smoked crack.
So, for reference, just so people know...
And abs.
Exactly where my brain's at, I didn't recognize anyone from Scream 1 when I watched that, the first one.
Right.
So have a think about who's in that, because I know you guys know.
You didn't recognize Drew Barrymore?
No.
Okay.
You could literally
I'm sorry for you.
You could literally just throw names at me. I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't see him in the movie. And you're like, I made that name up. It's like, okay.
Okay. Even Austin would recognize Drew Barrymore, and that's saying something.
The only one that surprises me, just because she's such a cultural zeitgeist due to Friends, the only one that surprises me that you wouldn't have recognized was Courtney Cox.
No.
Actually, no, that's not true. There is one that truly surprises me that you don't recognize, and that's David Arquette.
To be fair, I had recently watched a couple WCW pay-per-views.
Right.
That's where I knew him from.
And that's why I would be surprised that you didn't recognize him.
I also didn't recognize him in this movie until like 10 minutes, 20 minutes in.
Yeah, fair enough.
They were married in real life, weren't they?
Yes,
Courtney Cox.
They were,
and okay. I knew he was married to one of the friends. I thought it was Courtney.
Yes, it was. And they still have, they're not married now, obviously, but they still have a very good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they got married in after Scream, the first movie. And they separated during the making or just before or during the making of this one. So they were separated at the point that this movie was filming. And then they didn't divorce until like a couple of years after that.
Okay.
Credit to them, the chemistry is still as strong. You wouldn't know it on the screen. But yeah, for the opening scene, Scream 4, I found it, the first watch, I found it absolutely delightful. And I definitely, when we got to the third one with Jenny and Marnie, I was like, oh, they're just going to keep doing this, aren't they? And I was on board. I did realize, because there is a point in the opening scene where they start referencing Woodsboro, then I'm like, okay, this is the real one. And I think that's smart writing, because it is a signal of, okay, these are characters that you can take seriously and potentially care about whether they die or not. I think using this to sort of recontextualize the notion of the stab movies getting really, really bad. I still want them to make every single stab movie, but the stab movies getting bad, which leans into the commentary on sequels and all that stuff, is fairly clever. I would say at this point, it is not. Weirdly, my favorite opening scene is 3's.
I will give 3 this. I do like the opening scene in 3.
The opening
that would be one of the positive things I have to say.
It's really, really strong. But this is up there. Like, this is not a bad opening scene at all.
Also, 3 and 4 are a little different than the other openings, in my opinion.
Yes. No, 100%. Because you've got one which establishes the trope.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 2 which 2's is really good, but it is basically 1 all over again.
3's at least follows a character we already know.
Correct. And then
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. And then 4 just completely flips the whole thing on its head. That said, I do know people who completely didn't give this film a chance because of the opening scene. It just doesn't work for them. It's too silly. It's too metatextual. So on and so forth. I am not one of those people.
Shawnee watched the movie with me, and they'd never seen this before. They didn't know who the killer. They didn't even remember that. Who is she? Judy Hicks was in the 5th movie, because they immediately thought she was the killer. So they were really amused by the opening.
Yeah,
that thought it was a nice little twist.
It's smart. It's clever. But it's just good enough to... It's not Stephen Moffat clever. By which I mean, it's smug and has to be like, hey, aren't we clever here? It's just able to pull back from that. So, I think one of the things, and I think both the Scream and Scream 2, it's been a while since I've listened to those. I should have gone back and re-listened to those just to refresh myself. But one of the strengths of this franchise, and what differentiates itself from other slasher films, beyond the meta-textual commentary stuff, is this is one of the few slasher franchises that doesn't follow its killer. It doesn't turn the killer into the primary character and icon. The ghost face mask is obviously an iconic part of it, but the person underneath the mask is somebody different literally every time. We're following, and the emotional core of these characters, and what I think tends to make them work as well as they are our 3 OGs. Any characters that may or may not continue on in future films. We care about Sydney, we care about Gail, we care about Dewey. We cared about Randy until he died. So on and so forth for Randy. Scream 4 is still leaning on our OGs. But it also introduces its new cast of younger characters. Let's talk about the 03 first. Holly, how do you feel about how this movie handles, progresses, leans on Sydney, Gale, and Dewey?
So this is the point for me where Gale started to get on my nerves.
Okay.
And honestly, and this is something I will comment on 5 and 6, from this point on, Gale gets on my nerves.
Okay.
In the movies. The original 3, great. I think she did a fantastic job in 3. Again, one of the, I can say positive things about it. One of the positive things I have to say.
And double are...
Actually, I'm okay with her in 5. She was definitely wearing on me by 6.
Okay.
But this movie is very much, I love to see Dewey as the sheriff. I love everything with Dewey. He's still bumbling idiot, sweet guy. Like, he's fantastic. Sydney is great. I like what they did with her on the book and everything. And this is who she's become now, hopefully getting away from that creepy guy. So She's doing really great. It's just, and I understand what they're going for Gale because she's not small town.
Right.
But I just, she really started to get on my nerves. And I think one of the things that bothers me is when she tries to team up with the two teenage boys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like desperate to team up with them. And I'm like, that just doesn't seem like the Gale that I know.
Yeah.
Gale I know is more take charge. And I mean, she does eventually, like when she gets to the stab-a-thon and she starts like putting the cameras and stuff. But just the desperation to get information out of these teenage boys, I'm like, you don't need them. You're Gale Weathers.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like, honestly, you don't need anybody. You can go solve this yourself.
In fairness, that is part of her arc, and kind of the point of her arc is that she has lost herself and she has to find herself.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like it. It kind of gets to me.
That is absolutely fair. I'm kind of in this same boat. I'm with Gale. Like I'm on Gale's side and appreciate her. That character, there's always going to be points where objectively making decisions, she loses me, but I always enjoy her. I don't think it's a Gale thing. I think it is the Kevin Williamson doesn't know, just like Aaron Kruger in 3. They don't know how to write these characters in a happy relationship. And that's not unique to Scream. There is a TV rule unwritten rule that, the will they, won't they situation is something you never really want to resolve, because once you resolve that, happy relationships are not compelling, is the general notion. You need conflict to make something work. Okay, sure. My problem with Dewey and Gale and how they're written in both 3 and 4 is it feels like they are resetting to 2 every single time in terms of where they are in their relationship, just so that they can have conflict there. And that's what puts Gale in the position that she is in terms of big city girl in a small town. Sort of her conflict with Dewey and so on. It makes more sense in this one, I would say, than it did in 3. But it does feel like that Kevin Williamson went into writing this script saying, okay, how do I cause problems between these two characters? And I think it is a testament to Marley Shelton that Judy doesn't come off as absolutely terrible, because she is so clearly there as a way to create conflict between these two characters that we love.
Yes.
Like, I love Judy, and we'll get into the new characters in a second. But that character could have been a franchise worst character if it was handled just a little bit differently. But yeah, I like Gale. I like Dewey. I think Dewey will always be the heart of this franchise. Sid is the hero. Gale is the brains and the investigative and sort of the fire of the franchise. Dewey is the emotional core and always will be. I like Sid a lot in this. I think it's always risky to take somebody who, listen, whether we like Mark or not, we don't. Sidney did end Scream 3 in a good place. So bringing a character back from that is always a tricky thing. I think she works because I think that is the one character that, even in this franchise's worst entries, the writers and directors always understand. And I think that's one of the reasons why this franchise is so good. Because if anybody misunderstood Sidney, it would fall apart badly. So yeah, overall, I think the 03 are handled pretty well. It's a little bit messy because they're trying to bring these characters in, plus potentially have new characters, which, I mean, there's only so much about there's only so much that new characters need to be established, but we'll get into that in a minute. Elle, how do you feel about our three originals and how they're handled?
I mean, Dewey is an interesting one because it still almost feels like he's trying too hard to be the ideal deputy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
Not deputy, sheriff.
Well, either way, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's just I saw a deputy on the document in front of me, and I'm like, bleh, words.
Fair.
Gail annoyed me as a writer because there are ways around that blank page syndrome. She did not even bother. She just got frustrated because she was bored. That's not how you do it. If you want to try that stream of consciousness writing, you just do that. You write literally what you're thinking until something fires.
Mm-hmm.
You change the color of the paper because white is more intimidating because it's like it's essentially screaming at your eyes because it is maximum brightness. Ironically, you change the font to Comic Sans because that is a dyslexic friendly font and it gets your brain around some of those hurdles. And I hate that works.
I know.
But it's just like literally writing fiction is remarkably easy to start. The completion is a terrible beast that everyone should hate altogether, but the starting, easy as.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they absolutely, they narrative shortcut the fact that Gail has writer's block because Gail doesn't have a story that she knows how to tell. Like, it is narrative shortcutting to basically establish that she's stuck. She doesn't know her place.
Yeah, it's thematic, but
yes,
it's also very annoying in a very pedantic way.
100%.
And it's like, I don't think that was their intent to do that, but it annoyed me in that specific way.
No, I feel ya.
And as far as Sydney goes, I don't know. I think it might have been better if she just straight up died, because I don't know exactly how much she added to it. Like, she didn't feel bland, but didn't feel like she added enough to offset that.
Okay.
I want a screenshot of Jeremy's reaction to that.
Okay.
I will be the first to admit, as I have many times before, I know shit about fuck. My tastes are notoriously bad, and my opinions are worse.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
No, you're good. I just
No, I fully own that. I understand that. So it's like my brain comes at it from weirdly different perspectives.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Everyone
the point of the podcast. So
everyone else is coming at things left to right or right to left if you prefer. And I'm coming at it from 3 o'clock.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
So always I know it's like in the back of my mind, this is an insane thing to say. I don't know why, but I know people will think it is absolutely just the worst take imaginable. Let's see what happens.
For your own safety, Elle, I wouldn't say that at cons or to other Scream fans.
yeah. Oh man, whether Sydney should live or not is a point of discussion. That there are not rational conversations about that online.
And fair, look, I barely know what I'm doing half the time anyway. But yeah, that was how I thought about that. It's like, yeah, Dewey's trying too hard. Gale needs to pick up a thesaurus and just start browsing randomly. And Sydney, I don't know, cardboard? Plywood. Some sort of flat building material.
Wow.
But not paper. Paper isn't structural.
Okay. Dealing with the mental whiplash of that for a second. All right, so let's talk about the new characters then. And they still try to deal with that. Honestly, we don't have to worry about them too much because, I mean, we do because they are a significant part of this story, and I think personally, I think the movie does a pretty good job with most of them, but we don't have to worry about them the same way that we do the O3 because as of the end of this film specifically, the only one that we know is still alive when the credits roll is Judy. That will change, but at this point, I do think Scream 4 tries to give us the impression that this is going to be a legacy sequel until it starts offing everyone. It tries to set it up in a way that, and legacy sequels weren't super a thing at this point. We were starting to get into them with a couple of movies, but it definitely seems almost to set it up like, okay, this is going to be the movie where maybe Sid and Dewey and Gale sort of hand off to the next generation of characters and either walk off into the sunset or die. Oh, wait, nope, it's killing everybody. It's killing everybody under a certain age. Never mind. But we do have key characters here. We have Jill, we have Kirby, we have Charlie, Judy, Ross, Trevor, technically.
He's barely in it.
Yeah. Olivia, who I would argue is a more interesting and well-formed character than Trevor. And I guess Kate is there.
Right. I always forget she's in it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds awful, but every time I'm like, oh, she is in it. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, well, as soon as I remember she's in it, I'm like, right, because she dies.
She's a total afterthought of a character.
Yeah. I'm like, this was, like, Sydney's mom's sister.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done a little more there.
Who, and I'm not going to give the film too hard of a time about this, but who we have literally never heard about until this point. At least as far as I remember.
At that point, I really think they could have just made this like her dad's sister.
Yes. That would have been the smarter choice, frankly. But I understand why they did it the way they did, because thematically and like when we get to the big reveal, he's like, I even had to kill my mom just to fit the pattern. Like, I get it. Whatever. That's kind of what I think of Kate in general. But Ollie, which of these new cast members pop for you really well? Which ones don't? Like, what do you think about these guys as a whole? And I guess there are characters like Deputy Perkins and his partner, whose name I can't be fucked to remember. But really, these are kind of the core characters. What do we think of them?
So first of all, none of them get enough screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand there are roughly 50,000 characters in this movie.
Right.
So it is something that Shawnee had brought up when we were watching the movie, is like, I don't really care about these characters because they're not getting enough screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was one point when they were still fooled by the movie, on Jill, where they were like, yeah, like I see Jill being a good character and everything, and they're very much setting up Sydney, but we don't know enough about her right now, so I understand why they went a different route for Scream 5. Right. Of course, this was before the reveal, so like they didn't know, but like Shawnee was saying, like Jill's kind of forgettable.
Yes, and I think that's an intentional choice on their part.
Yes, once you get to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it very much, like, I especially noticed in this rewatch of it, how much they really try to make her look like Sydney. Like a young Sydney physically, with the dark hair, the dark eyes. Like, I'm an Emma Roberts fan, so I've seen her in a lot of stuff before.
Same.
I've seen her hair every color of the rainbow. Yep. But they really went dark on this, and they very much were going Sydney. And from the way she was dressed as well.
Yes.
Very much callbacks to even the first movie.
Absolutely.
So Jill I love. She's one of my favorite killers.
Mm-hmm.
Just one of the best killer reveals. The others. Kirby is fantastic. Love Kirby. There are other people in this movie. Olivia is a sacrificial lamb, in my opinion.
She is. I don't disagree with that.
Trevor is blink and you'll miss him.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. Jill has a moody boyfriend that cheats on her, too. Again, trying to set up the whole Sydney thing. And it's the only purpose he serves.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you've got Charlie and Robbie, right?
Yes, Robbie.
Did I get that name right? Okay.
Yes.
I would have liked to see more of the two of them in particular. Mm-hmm. I think they had a lot of potential. Robbie was fun. I think Charlie was a good choice for the other Ghostface. Right. But again, would have liked to see, if you're going to give a little more screen time to any of the characters, would have liked to see a little more of the two of them, especially like their relationship, like the two of them together.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And Kate exists.
How about Judy?
Judy. Oh, yes, Judy. Yeah, Judy. Right. Judy. Yeah, Lemon Squares.
Lemon Squares tastes like ass.
It's her nickname is Lemon Squares.
How does Gail know what ass tastes like? I don't think she counts as a millennial.
Listen, you do not need to be a millennial to know what ass tastes like.
Well, apparently so, according to pop media. Millennials' favourite pastimes, aside from killing industries.
Anyway, Judy,
Yeah, it's Judy.
the Mint Squares. They really set her up as a red herring in this. She is so, like, creepy. The scene where, like, she's talking to Sydney in the house, you know what I'm talking about, and you don't even see her face. And it's just shadows. And she's like, we went to school together, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, Sydney, you are in danger. She's going to kill you.
I'll be honest, that scene made me instantly, I know this is a weird reaction, instantly made me trust Judy as a character because it was so obvious.
Oh, yes.
It was so out of left field that it felt like, and of course, it would not be beyond the Scream franchise to set someone up as an obvious red herring and then have them be the killer. But it was so over the top the way that it was framed. I like it. But I was like, oh, okay, it's definitely not Judy.
The other red herring, in my opinion, for just a little bit was, I can't even remember her name, the publicist.
Oh, Rebecca?
Yes.
I like Rebecca a lot.
She wasn't in it a ton.
Right.
She's another one I could have seen more of.
Yes.
And she was fun.
I know it's going to be shocking that the bitch character is one that I absolutely adore, but she's so good. But yeah, no, absolutely. Elle, how do you feel about these new characters?
I was very surprised by, I think it was Kirby, was it? Hayden Panettiere? That she didn't just use her healing powers.
Yeah, yep.
Because it's like, why wouldn't you just like jump in front and just take that and heal it? You can do that. Oh yeah, different series. Damn.
Yeah, different series. Siler had already taken her powers at that point.
And then with Rebecca, I think it was the publicist.
Yes.
For completely different reasons, which I will explain, I was too distracted by her ass.
I mean, Alison Brie does have a great ass, but please explain.
She looked like she had like severely had fucked up her back with how much her hips were swaying that I was worried for her.
Yeah, no, that's
it's like, that does not look right. Jeez, it's like, see a doctor. Oh wait, no, it's America. That'll cost you a fortune. Sit down. that might only cost you $5.
Yeah.
And the rest were there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And then with Jill, that the reveal of that, it's like her reasoning. It's like, wow, I dislike this as a concept, not even like ooh, I don't like you as a character, boo.
That's and we'll talk about that whole reveal and how it plays out shortly. But I can understand that. I don't agree, but it does come off as, how's the nicest way to put this? Old man looking at the kids these days. Motivation. So I can see that.
And I would love to see the casting process on this, to see where they found an insect that could fit into a human suit as well as Judy did. Because, like, no offense to her, but she was very bug-eyed the entire way.
Yes.
That's all I could think of, is that she's going to shed her skin and whip out her mandibles to chew people to death. There will be a very interesting collision between Mantis and Ghostface.
I was going to say, that we won't see that until Dario Gento's Dracula 3D movie, where Dracula does literally turn into a approximately 32-bit praying mantis.
You're gonna make me watch this, aren't you?
Do not watch that movie.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna have to review it.
No, I would not subject.
Don't give Elle ideas. Elle will do this to us.
Shit. All right. So let's talk about. Let me talk about the characters a minute.
Scream 4.
Scream 4. So I will say one of the things that, because this is Scream 3 introduced a lot of characters, but they were adult characters. It was a little bit different than how Scream 4 does it. And Scream 2 doesn't honestly introduce it. It gives us some, obviously. We've got Mickey, we've got the roommate whose name is escaping me at the moment. And obviously we have the boyfriend. But Scream 4 had a much bigger job because you have a lot more characters here. And new characters here. Because you kind of killed everybody else off. I think for the most part, there are characters that don't work for me. Like, bless Nico Tortorello, but Trevor, again, much like that Judy scene, is a large ruddy colored fish in human form. There has not been a clearer red herring, and it was so clearly the case that I never bought him potentially as the killer. I think Tortorello is doing a okay job with it, and he does get some great moments in the scenes at Kirby's house where he's like stupidly unintentionally interrupting the make a move moment and stuff like that. But not one of the strongest characters in this. Kate, again, kind of an afterthought. Honestly, I think Olivia is a more well-rounded a character that I can get behind than either Trevor or Kate. And she's in it for far less time. I like her a lot. I think she fits in very well with Jill and Kirby when in the opening scenes. But really, if we're talking about the new characters, this is the Jill, Kirby, and kind of Charlie and Judy show. Jill is great. I agree with everything that you said, Holly. I think she is very clearly set up to be like, okay, this is going to be the passing of the torch character. They're very clearly making her the new Sydney, and then they're like, haha, fooled you.
Right.
And Emma Roberts, who I am a big fan of, sells both parts of it really well. Like, it is not easy to, and this is going to sound kind of like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. It is not easy to walk the line between a boring protagonist syndrome, new version of a legacy character, and still make them interesting and somebody that you want to potentially follow. She does that with Jill. Kirby is obviously the character that is there to be the fun, interesting, dynamic, little bit manic pixie dream girlish, but not so much because Panettiere really does great things with the role. And I really enjoy Kirby. I think she has some of the best lines. I think she has some of the best jokes. And it is one of the characters that they do a good job of setting her up like Randy, so that when she gets stabbed, it's a real emotional gut punch. I have no opinions about Robbie. Robbie is kind of a cipher character. I think there was a lot of potential for interesting stuff there that I don't think was realized, because essentially in the grand scheme of things, he is there to throw suspicion off Charlie, who is the more interesting character by a large portion. And I do wish we'd seen a little bit more of Charlie. But Culkin does a very good job with that character, and sells the heel turn, incredibly well, while still also being very gullible, so that he can, and this is another trivia point, become the first ghost face killed by another ghost face. Yeah, very solid character. Overall, I think I do like these new characters. They're definitely better than you would expect from a legacy sequel kind of situation. So, obviously, Wes Craven is back behind the camera here, sadly for the last time. How do we feel about, there is, and I'm going to, without spoiling anything, when 5 and 6 come along, there is a very clear shift in sort of the look and sort of the tone of these films. Not in a bad way. I like 5 and 6 a whole lot. But there's a reason why people call this a Wes Craven film, call the Scream franchise a Wes Craven franchise, and not, with all due respect to him, because he is an indelible part of this franchise, a Kevin Williamson franchise. This is a lot of the direction, the look. I mean, obviously, all of the direction, but a lot of what makes this franchise embeds into this franchise DNA comes from Craven. Elle, how do you feel about how Craven handles, how he does behind the camera this time? How do you feel about the slasher aspects, the gore, the suspense, set pieces? How does this one hold up in that respect?
I saw this question and I've been trying to rack my brain. Like, I am a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I am useless at like directorial, like like techniques and things like that. It's like, if I didn't explicitly see that it was Wes Craven, I wouldn't have had any idea that he even did any other Nightmare movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes here as well, where it's like, I can't tell what's a thing unless it's like super an obvious pastiche. It's like, I can tell if something is Sam Raimi because of the following sweeping shot, like point of view
Right.
of the killer or monster, even if it's people trying to do a parody of it. It's like, oh, that's because that's the Sam Raimi technique.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, it's like, I don't know what to say, because it's it worked, but I don't know why.
Right. Just in general, like, not even like, okay, this is something that Craven is responsible as a director for. And I get what you're saying, because Craven is not, I think he does have hallmarks, and but I think his hallmarks come in how he brings out thematic material and things like that. Just in general, like, how do you feel about how the horror is handled beyond just what's on the page? Like, how the gore is executed. Does the suspense play well? Because that's something, suspense is something that, sure, you can write something as suspenseful on the page. The direction is what makes it so.
I felt the gore was a little understated.
Really?
I think compared to what I was expecting. But yeah, it could have been turned up a notch or two. Suspense wise, I mean, it felt like a standard horror movie that was looking for the occasional jump scare and misdirect,
Mm-hmm.
but not really anything out of the ordinary.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that about. I mean, yes, it could have been turned up. We've definitely seen gorier horror films, but I think for a Scream film, this goes pretty fucking hard on the gore. Like, the one that I always think of is Olivia. That one, that is some brutal shit. Arguably, I mean, you can't really call that gore, but Jill fucking herself up.
It took me a sec for my brain to recognize that you said up.
Yeah.
Like, I know, but it's just like I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Clearly, you weren't watching the cut we were.
Yeah, no, we were watching a very different cut.
Very hard to find this movie online in a way that everyone says it is.
Yeah. You know, and it's true, I definitely get hung up on the Olivia one because that is almost unnecessarily brutal for the character. And maybe it's just because I really liked her as a character, but like, I don't think we've seen that level of aftermath of the body since Steve in the first one. I certainly don't think we've seen intestines since then. But yeah, maybe it's just because I always go back to that scene and just how much she gets fucked up. But yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from as far as this, but I think the best thing that Craven does here is, in terms of handling the mystery and the suspense of, is narrative through line. He keeps the stability from the previous films, which is important when we are introducing an entirely new cast. Like, that's one of the things. Again, I like Scream 5. I'm not gonna go too far into it. But there is fully a character, or a not thematic. There is clearly a stylistic shift that comes with introducing, again, a whole new cast of characters that is, I don't want to say jarring, but is striking in 5. And Craven here with this one is able to keep sort of okay, this is still recognizably Scream, even though we only have 3 characters from the previous films, and the Woodsboro that we are shooting in is so very clearly not the Woodsboro of Scream 1 and 2. Like, the maybe it's just me, but I had the notion in the first I guess just the first film. But I had the notion of Woodsboro as being a, yes, suburb, but like a very sort of high-end California, you know, it's a suburb, but it's a suburb where that doesn't have the small town feel to it the way that it does in 4. And the way Craven sort of handles the direction and gives us that sort of stability eases that sort of transformation of Woodsboro in a way that I don't think, if it hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been as successful. Holly, what do you think about how the film is directed, the different slasher aspects here, the set pieces, with the again, with the exception of the third act, because we'll get to that very soon. How do you think all of that is played out and executed?
So to completely disagree with Elle, I feel like the gore was done very well, especially coming off of 3, because they had to go very light. And I know why. That's another day. That's another conversation. I know why they had to go light, but it was really refreshing to see all of the gore again. Yeah. To see, especially the scene you were commenting on with Olivia, when Sydney is, and just that scene when Sydney just crumples and she is in that room and it just pans out to that and it is just painted with blood. I mean, that looked like a scene out of Dexter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that was done very well. Other things, like, I love all of the callbacks to the previous films, especially to the original. You've got, I can't remember which girl this is at the beginning, because there are roughly 5,000 girls within the movie. But the one, the actual one that's not in the Stab movie, who is crawling in the garage.
Yes, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, and like going, like it was a callback to Tatum from the original movie, and it just. I had another example. I think it just jumped out of my mind. But things like that, I really appreciate how it's done. Or even the blocking in the scene where Sydney walks in on Jill and Trevor.
Uh-huh.
And it is, and you can see it like in Sydney's eyes too, like she sees this was me so many years ago. So I really appreciate that stuff.
100%. And I would say also the blocking of, again, the reveal scene.
Yes.
That's Scream 1.
Oh, that's Billy and Stu. Yes.
I mean, like, explicitly within the script it is, but also, yes, the blocking.
It is. I mean, I prefer the original. That's just me. But I thought this was done very well. And again, we'll get on to that. But I'm such a fan of Stu.
Yes.
Which again, I mean, the movie 7 is either going to be what I expect, and it's going to be like me gushing over this,
or losing your shit.
Or, yeah, it'll be worse than my Gremlins review. if they do things the way I'm afraid they're going to do things.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm just going to take a moment to say, like, it's not good to go to Scream 1 and to have a little bit of Stu appreciation. I love Stu. I love Billy. Really, no small part of it is I fucking love Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are genuinely, and I mean, these are celebrities. I don't know these people. I'm not going to speak. I'm talking about what I perceive of their characters. Genuinely seem to be the coolest people and the most fan appreciative, still good friends with each other. They have fully embraced the first husbands of horror label that they have been given. It's great. It's all great. But Scream 4, so this one, this discussion point, I have thoughts on it. Elle, what do you think about the commentary in this one? Because it's a part and parcel of the Scream franchise. And Scream 4, it's trying to be about, the rise of remakes, reboots, etc. Everything that was kind of a big part of the aughts. They were trying to look, we've had 8 years now. All this stuff has happened in the genre. Let's try to comment on it. And for context, that scene where Kirby drops like a ridiculous number of remakes, legitimately one of my favorite lines, one of my favorite jokes in the movie. She doesn't even get all of them then. That hit that very specific description that that Jill, we will eventually find out, is asking her about. How does this commentary work for you? Is it as strong as the first three? Is it maybe too on the nose? Does it not go far enough?
It, I think, stops just short of being too much.
Okay.
So, like, the opposite of the gore factor. I can't really remember much of what is in the first three other than just oh yeah, here are the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember if they get into it more than just getting the list.
They do. There is... I would argue that 1 and 2 delve deeper into it, and then 3 is a little bit lighter on the horror rules and more on the Hollywood chew people up and spit them out, for a shortcut way to put it, the Me Too-ness of it.
But while it borders on that, this is almost too much, just a little bit more, and I'm like throwing up kind of level.
Right.
It fits for the narrative of the town, because this is a town that has gone through a serial killer who is working off these aspects of media, and then copycats playing off those tropes as well. So of course people are going to be more media literate, essentially. It's I'm starting to think, like, in Watchmen, it's like, well, superheroes are a thing, so why would there be superhero stories? Because you could just look out your window and see a Superman. Why do you need to go down and buy a comic book? So all their comic books are pirates. So it feels like a world where this is legitimate, because everyone is now becoming more aware of the tropes and the rules because of how it happens. I'm only surprised that horror movies are still as big of a thing within the conceit of the narrative.
Right.
Because again, it's like, if this is what is attracting not just serial killers here, but that sort of mentality in people, perhaps we should do a romance instead.
Fair.
It's a very different take for the Stab sequels, where they just suddenly pivot into a high Regency romance drama.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's fair. It's interesting you say it goes for To me, I feel like it doesn't go quite far enough. I think there's a whole lot in the opening, in the opening scenes, because it needs it. And then there's the questioning scene. There's good thematic material in this. I feel like the themes, the thematic stuff is all the stuff that really feels potent is Jill's motivations and that sort of thing. That stuff feels like it is a little bit more, I don't know if relevant. It's hitting those points a little bit harder and in a little bit more of an effective way. Whereas to me, the remake stuff, there's obviously references to it, but it does feel a little bit more window dressy to me. Not in a way that makes it bad, just it doesn't. I guess it surprises me a little bit that uh, it doesn't quite have the same level of something to say about it. Which, fair enough. That's they were interested in a somewhat different direction, and it works. It just, I don't know if the meta commentary is its strongest point. Holly, what do you think?
I think it's a nice callback to the original, but I think 5 does it better, in my opinion.
I will agree. Not again, spoiler free, but I would agree with that.
And I mean, we'll get to that when we do 5. But yeah, I just yes. I think they were trying to do it, but in my opinion, I almost think they were trying too hard. Yeah, I think that's about all I got on that.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I think there's good stuff in there, and it's definitely, again, the way I busted out laughing when name the killer, and it's, what is she named? 20 movies?
Yes.
Something
yeah,
like
just everyone she can think of.
And again, she misses like The Hitcher. She misses, there are a number of movies that I was expecting her to keep going, but I don't think that Hayden Panettiere can hold her breath for that long to keep going. But yeah, it's not necessarily as strong, but it's fine. So let's get in, because I think this is going to be an interesting discussion. The third act reveal. So we're so clearly meant to believe that Jill is one of the potential victims. The next Sydney, maybe they will kill Sydney off, and Jill will carry this franchise forward. That was definitely a thought and a concern that I had early in my first watching of the movie. Because, Holly, like you said, it's so clear that she is Jill 2.0.
Mm-hmm. Or Sydney 2.0.
Sorry, Sydney 2.0. Until she's not. Until she's very, very much not. So, first question. Did either of you guys guess this one in your first watch?
No.
No.
Okay.
Charlie, I guessed. Jill, I did not. And it was the same with Shawnee when we were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Got Charlie.
Charlie screams and then, killer.
They thought it was going to be Trevor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But then the second Jill revealed, they were like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
There was a part of me that was thinking it was going to be Dewey, and it was like a double fake.
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't really get enough strong vibes off anyone else specifically because of just they were there.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, it's someone who has at least some impact because otherwise, just coming out of nowhere, it makes no sense. So who actually has had impact to me? Well, none of these new people. So let's have a think.
Mm-hmm. In fairness, I would argue that one of the outside of Jill, one of the best killer reveals in the Scream franchise is a character who does come out of nowhere. And I'm talking about Mrs. Loomis in Scream 2.
That is the best. I mean, I love the Jill one, but yeah, Scream 2 is probably the best killer.
Yeah. It's and I know there are people who hate that reveal because it does come out of nowhere. For me, it's incredibly effective.
I like the ones that I know a similar thing happened, and I'm not going to say who it is. No spoilers.
Right. In 5.
No, I'm thinking of a TV series I was recently watching. Is Pretty Little Liars, like one of the new ones, and I actually called this character, and it's a minor character, and I was like, it would be so great if they did this.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it, and I was like, I am so glad they did that. So many people were mad. And they were like, well, we don't even know who this character is. Why would they do that? Why isn't it someone that we know? And yeah, so people were really upset.
Yep. So I'm gonna I will just say I really, really enjoy how this all plays out. It is hilarious, but also kind of terrifying. But like everything about it, I think for me is really good. Elle, how does this reveal in this third act, and I guess kind of beyond that, like the hospital scene and all that kind of stuff, how does the third act play for you?
I mentioned it earlier, but it's her motivation rubbed me the wrong way a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, not just that, oh, I am buying into the fantasy, boo, hiss, that dastardly character, how dare you. But from that sort of real life perspective, like stepping out of the immersion, it's like, wow,
Right.
there are actually people who think like this, aren't there? Why? I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe, am I the broken one?
Not in this case, no. 100%. No. Other people are.
Well, I mean, even like that, the first thing that came to mind when I was even thinking that is like, but if I won the lottery, I wouldn't take the payout because I know that's a trap. But everyone else seems to. So am I the one who's wrong?
Nope.
But everyone else
Not
is
at
like,
all.
when that has come up, they're like, why wouldn't you just take the money? I'm like, well, because that's how they get you. You get about half of it after tax. There are companies whose entire existence is dependent on them buying that money out from you.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's not enough to buy a house instantly, but you get the full thing over 30 years. I'm just being a realist.
Yep. Yes, no. Listen, in the lottery debate, I'm with you. Take the
pay over time slow installment plan.
Time thing. It is the smart way to do it because you're not going to potentially like spend yourself out, and you always have money coming in as long as the government stays in business. Which, look, it's 2025. Whether the government stays in business is in question, but
yeah. But I've often found myself on the extreme minority side of any of these sorts of debates or questions. So I've found myself in that mindset of, well, yeah, there are people who actually think like this. but is this the correct way to think? Because I don't know how to think for myself properly.
No, this is not the correct way to think. I mean, it is unfortunately a way that people... You are not wrong.
So yeah, it kind of stuck out to me in a way that I don't think was the intended way to shock and awe.
I mean, no, I think that is intended. Like, yes, it is. It is not only a yes, Jill, you're awful, but like the film is certainly not condoning this approach. And to be clear, getting social media famous, no shade, get your bag. That do what you do, but like I don't think that you're wrong. And I think the film is intending to be where you are about it.
Like, even doing this podcast and others, it's like, is this the right thing to do? Because it's the thing, and should I care more about it? I don't know. I get weirdly insecure about things sometimes.
Oh, no, and I get that. Yeah, absolutely fair. We'll get to the hospital stuff in a minute. Holly, how do you like the big reveal?
Oh, I love the big reveal in it because I think it comes out left field. Like, I like that. It's not predictable. I would have hated it if it was Trevor.
Right.
Then I'm like, great. Now you're just doing the first movie.
Yep.
And also, we haven't seen Trevor.
Right.
Like, we don't even know the character. Like, at least Billy, we knew his character.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I like that. I like the scene with her staging everything.
Oh my God.
And her reaction on how much everything hurt, too. Because she's like, okay, I'm going to do, no.
And then, yes.
The way to the point, I think my favorite is the way she positioned herself next to Sydney. That was just the chef's kiss.
It's such an effective moment because it is... It sells the rest of the thing. Like, I was dying during the, and I do every single time, during the frame, all the framing stuff, the the running into the knife, running into the wall with the knife, just the throw yourself into the portrait, throw yourself back on the table, which frankly makes me respect Jill more. That's badass behavior.
Shawnee was pointing things out here. Like, why are you throwing yourself into the table if you're not going to plant glass on Trevor?
No, there are
like there's no glass. Yeah, like things like that.
But in fairness, look at the Woodsboro fucking police.
That is true.
She will get away with this.
Yeah, I think I said something similar to that. Yeah.
Like, it's fine if the little details aren't there, because this city, the police in this little town just buy whatever it looks like on the surface.
Yeah.
I think this whole scene plays out so beautifully. Emma Roberts is selling the shit out of this performance. This is Matthew Lillard level of villain reveal for this franchise. It's so good. Rory Culkin is also good as Charlie, but like there's a moment before he dies, where you're like, oh, Charlie, you're dead. You're so fucking dead.
Oh, yeah.
But even that being the case, like, the stab straight into the chest, like, right into the heart. Oh, that's effective. Like, everything about this sequence. And like you said, when she lands and then she just moves her hand so it perfectly matches. Oh, just perfect. It is. If this scene had not been the way it is, this would be a good slasher film. It would not be a great slasher film. And I would probably think about it somewhere around the level of Scream 3. This is what sells it, and everything after, because the hospital scene, let's get into that a little bit, is so good. There's a little bit kind of a lull when you have the Dewey's two conversations, but Jill just completely fucking her plans. But just being like, no, I'm killing my aunt. It doesn't matter. I am finishing this. It is fantastic. The whole action sequence in there. Poor fucking Dewey getting beat to shit by a bedpan. Everybody individually showing up. Sydney's line, which is like fully my favorite line in the movie, which is, you forgot the first rule about remakes, don't fuck with the original. Everything about this sequence that almost wasn't in the movie is what elevates this film for me. Holly, how does the hospital stuff work for you in general?
So I do like the hospital stuff. It works very well for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I do at the same time think it would have been a great way to end the movie, would be wheeling her out and saying, oh, there's another girl alive.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that would have been great, because I would have definitely watched that next movie.
Oh, yeah.
Or if they just leave it like that, that would have been great. But yes, so the hospital part, it really did remind me of Halloween 2.
Yes.
Like a callback.
100%.
And that within itself could have been the next movie also.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But yeah, I thought the whole thing was great. I forgot that Judy showed up in there. I thought it was just the core three with Jill. I completely forgot Judy was part of there.
Mm-hmm. Wear a vest, save your chest.
Yes.
The moment where she pops up at the end.
Yeah, well, like, she goes down and Johnny's like, so I would think that she's dead, but I know she's not because she's in the next.
Right.
Like, yeah. But originally you think, like, when I first watched it, I thought she was dead.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Because you always have someone die by a gun.
Yeah.
It always happens.
This movie, by the way, is such a bloodbath. Like, literally, but they kill everybody.
Yeah. Uh-huh. They just flat out, yeah, no. I think this movie has the highest kill count in the franchise.
And we don't find out till years later that Kirby survived.
Yes. Elle, how do you think the hospital stuff plays?
It wraps itself back around from again, like my meta standpoint of being annoyed at it. It's like, no, okay, now it works. It's properly like going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, legit.
I did also have a little bit of other umbrage to take, though.
Okay.
With the defibrillator.
Oh, yep.
Mostly because it looks like that's been overclocked. Because that, from what I could tell, is about double what most of them are equipped to get to.
Right.
And with the essentially the very quick session of ECT that Jill undergoes, should be a lot more debilitating than it is.
Oh, well, yeah. There is nothing realistic about that moment, but it's great.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about, like, anything in that sort of medical field perspective, anything that deals with that, where my brain goes into like hyper mode on, okay, what is wrong here?
Right.
I think it is because my mum was a nurse and my sister is a paramedic. Yep. So it's I have all that coming in just as like osmosis, just all this information. So it's like, that's not being treated right as a proper defibrillator. It seems too powerful. That's definitely not how you use it, but I'll forgive that because it's a movie.
Right.
But this isn't how electroshock works.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And it's like,
but it's a cool moment.
Yeah, I can overlook it for the film, but my brain is still like, no, point it out.
Yep.
It's like anytime anyone does the like mouth to mouth, it's like, no, that's not for what you do.
Wrong.
You do chest compressions, not like trying to like restart their lungs.
I
don't know.
No, that's fair.
Just weird sticking points on the worst things, but nothing that matters.
Yeah. No, it's such, and then this is also, I will point out, the most depressing ending to a Scream film. It is kind of bleak and pessimistic because we've got, it focuses on Jill's dead body as the media is talking about how she's such a hero straight out of the movies and all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I like that kind of downbeat sort of ending because, again, it's generally it is okay, we have concluded the story. The hero's won, the villain is defeated, but also, that's kind of bleak because we kind of know how this is going to play out in the media and so on and so forth, and that probably there are going to be people who will be fans of Jill's and say Jill was right and shit like that. So I personally appreciate how it ended on that just kind of bleak downbeat point. So yeah, before we finish out our sort of final thoughts here, let's do some related recommendations. Elle, what would you suggest for somebody if they saw this? Obviously, there are a lot of other Scream films that we could recommend, and maybe it's them. What would you recommend if someone was like, I really liked Scream 4?
So I got one that makes sense and one that might need a bit of explaining. As usual, I have the most random bits to draw on. For the one that's kind of makes sense, Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yep.
Because it's using that knowledge of lore and tropes and things like that. The other
next
one,
generation of kids. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The other one is a manga series. I think it's also been adapted into an anime. Quality Assurance in Another World.
Okay.
Because it is the story of a guy who gets stuck in a video game as a beta tester. So he has to use all like the knowledge of glitches and like ways to cheat the game to survive. Because it's if you ever use the developer mode to like just cheat, you don't get to go back.
Nice.
And out of his entire beta test group, from what I remember, he is the only one that didn't give in. So he is going through finding all the, if I rub my face into the wall for 5 seconds, I get to fly. Like all those little bits and pieces. So playing off the knowledge of tropes and like techniques, things like that.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a bit out there, but that is that connection my brain made.
No, that's fair. Holly, how about you? What would you recommend for somebody who is a fan of Scream 4?
Sorry, my mind went blank for a minute. I did have movies. There we go. Yes. Sorry.
You're good.
I would recommend, again, I'm going to 2 different ones. Cabin in the Woods.
Uh-huh.
It's great. Plays on the tropes. Lots of blood. If you want more blood.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of fun. And then the other one I would go with, I think, again, if you're looking for a fun, lighter serial killer watch, would be Totally Killer.
Okay, yep. I can see that. Good option. I also have 2. I am going to go for, if you're a fan of it, like the way that this film reinvigorates Scream and is sort of an original legacy sequel in a lot of ways, I'm going to go with the one that preceded it, and Halloween H2O. 1998. It is basically doing a lot of what Scream 4 does here. It is taking the Halloween story. It is introducing younger cast, keeping our OG in Jamie Lee Curtis and Laurie Strode, and throwing Michael Myers into the mix at a prep school. No surprise, this was, I don't know if he's credited for the script, but I know Kevin Williamson was involved in the script for this one. And you can, the Kevin Williamson-ness of it is very much there. It feels very, it's not directly meta, but it kind of hits that vibe really strong. The other one I'm going to recommend, if you are a fan of Emma Roberts, and you should be, because she's fantastic, and you want her to see, and you're like, I really like Jill once she snapped and revealed herself at the end. I want to see more of that. Do I have the Fox show for you? There is a show that ran 2 seasons. It's called Scream Queens.
Someone else knows the show.
It's so good.
Thank you.
It
got a lot of hate.
Yeah, it is so good. It has, and the cast, if you look back at the cast now, the cast is ridiculous because you have Emma Roberts, you have Ariana Grande, you have her name escapes me right now. It's the other Chanel.
Abigail Breslin.
Sorry, Abigail Breslin. Sorry, the other Chanel. Abigail Breslin and Billy Lord.
Love Billy Lord.
Glenn Powell, who is now, the rom-com and action guy du jour, plays one of the best characters. Chad.
Oh, yes.
But this is, all the characters are great. It is a mostly comedic, but still horror focused take on the slasher film over a TV show storyline. All
I
the
would say we
characters are
should
great.
do it, but I don't know if we can do a whole season.
Yeah, and 2 seasons, because season 2 is also so good.
I have some problems with season 2.
Fair, but this is the Emma Roberts fucking show.
Yes.
Like, she plays the bitchiest bitch, but the most, everything about it is good. She understands exactly the material. She knows what she's doing, and she is a blast to watch because she's able to both be the bitch, the sort of badass kind of character when she needs to, but she is also not afraid to play the fool.
And did you mention Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis is in it as well, yes. Like, oh, it's so good. I know why it got hate. It was a very particular tone that is going to either you're either going to love it or hate it. But I adore it. Happy Chanel-oween, everyone. Yeah, great stuff. So let's get into our final thoughts on Scream 4. Ollie, what do you think of it overall? What is your rating?
I mean, overall, great movie, great killer reveal. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I forgot to do the thing. 3.5 surprising killer reveals out of 5.
Nice. Elle, how about you? How do you feel about it overall? Where does your final rating rank?
Yeah, no, I ended up enjoying it. I think I gave it a 4. So 4 exhaustively long lists of movies out of 5.
Fair, yeah, legit. Like I said, this watch around, I think it bothered me a little. There are certain elements of it that bothered me a little bit more. The parts that work really work. The cast, the mystery, the third act are great. There are little things that annoy me here and there, but it's still a good movie. It's still a very good movie, and it's still a good Scream movie, which is its own, like, that's grading on a pretty steep curve. I've had it at a 4 out of 5 for a long time. After this watch, and it's like a 3.75, but I don't do quarter stars. I'm giving it 3.5 metal bedpans to the head out of 5, which is still improvement over 3, not at the level of 1 and 2, which that gives me another thing that I'm going to ask as we talk about Scream films. We will progressively move our way through these. So, Holly, what are your Scream 1 through Scream 4? Rank those films.
I think we all know what bottom is. So, and I hate having to do this because I enjoy the 4th movie, but I think I'm going to have to do 3 and then 4. It's just the first 2 movies are so good.
Right.
And I know you have so much love for the second, but nothing beats the original for me. Nothing can beat Matthew Lillard. I love Matthew Lillard. So I'd have to go, 3, 4, 2, 1.
Yep. Elle, how about you? How are you ranking them at this point?
Release order.
release order? 1, 2, 3, 4, right down the line.
Yep.
Nice. Fair enough.
So 4 being the current top.
Yep. Yep.
As both my illustrious co-hosts really try to hold back the vitriol.
No, you are able to like the movies in the order that you like them.
Put 3 too high.
I like 3 a lot. It is messy as fuck, but it is my order for, and I rank from high to low. I think 2 is the perfect sequel, the perfect horror sequel. It just edges out 1. Like, it is a difference between like a 9.51 and a 9.5. It is that razor thin of a line. And then 4 is down a ways, but still very good. And then 3, I like. It is the worth of the franchise. It is going to be at the bottom for all the way through. And
as it should be.
Yeah, my ranking goes 2, 1, 4, 3 from best to worst. So that is Scream 4. Elle, what are we going to be covering next episode? Since as we go to a massive, huge change thematically from this one.
I believe it's pronounced Scream.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is Scream 5 Cream Scr 5 like however you want to do it, but yes, it is the 5th film in the franchise, which I'm excited to get the chance to revisit. I don't think I've rewatched it in a year or so. So that is our next episode. Meanwhile, you can find us at whatever podcatcher you prefer. We are on Blue Sky and Instagram and Letterboxd at Final Ghouls Pod.
Great big floppy donkey dicks. Now that I have your attention, make sure that you make this time worthwhile with a rating and review. 5 stars if you can. Otherwise, just tell me how terrible my accent is, especially for those of you in our beloved West Country.
Wow. Meanwhile, you can find me at JThomas411Mania on Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and Instagram.
You can find me at shards@kind.social on Mastodon and Shards System on Letterboxd, and apparently also I have to say, check this out on podcast catcher feeds because no one else wanted to, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
And you can find me at Holly Culp on Blue Sky and at Miniature Magic 18 on Instagram.
And you can find all of us playing role-playing games at Final Show Films on Twitch and YouTube. Elle, what is our horror book survival guide tip?
When the power goes out, do not venture into the basement armed with only a candle to see how the fuse box is doing.